Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. This is a Waters Creek Kyle Robertson show report for the recent show last weekend, October 31st up through November 3rd. Although I was not there on Sunday, I hit it hard on Thursday, maxed it out Thursday. Friday went almost to the bitter end, but left 30 minutes early. And then Saturday, I left a little bit early as well. It was great. And then I took Sunday off to be with my wife and grandkids, which was harder work than working the dollar boxes at the show. Thanks sponsors, Topps Panini, Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins & Scott Auctions, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, COMC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentications. A bunch of the sponsors were there. Not all, but I would say most. I had no comments. The total time I've had my podcast, I've had facial hair. I've had a beard and a mustache. And I'm not saying no one noticed, but no one commented. But I am now clean shaven, which is consistent with my podcast art, which was what it was before. And not a big deal. People don't know what to say. If they say, have you lost weight? What am I going to say? I shaved, and that's not even an ounce of hair. But you just look a little bit different, but you still look the same. Had a number of great interactions. Off the top of my head, Bobby Baseball comes up, and most of the guys know where to find me. I stay put for a while, and he was just like a kid. He's an accomplished executive, has done extremely well, has a fabulous collection, but he still likes to complete sets and have thematic groups of cards, and he's condition insensitive. Sure, he can afford the finest, but he'd rather have a broader collection, I think. I don't know that he even has to make choices, but my point is he's not that sensitive to condition. He's not going to kick out a rare card because it's not in the finest condition known. And they look great. He had some stuff that I don't have. I have type cards pretty much of all the stuff, but I don't have the cards that he has. And it's just great to see his excitement. Made a great contact. My father's passed away, and I went to Rich Klein and said, my dad had a stamp collection. I don't know much about that, Rich. Your father had done stamps, and what do you think? Who in the area? And he really didn't have any great ideas for who buys and sells stamps in this area. We checked with Heritage. They're not doing stamps anymore, which would have been a great choice. But there was a guy at the show that I bought hockey cards from that turns out his main gig is a stamp dealer. And since he treated me right on hockey cards I was buying from him, was a very agreeable, accommodating dealer, I'm hopeful that he will be very accommodating and knowledgeable and helpful with my dad's stamp collection. I'm not sure it's extremely valuable. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not extremely valuable, but that was a great contact. In fact, I bought 2 different hockey groups while I was at the Waters Creek show. I think in anticipation that I'm eventually going to go back to Toronto, and this is a way of me to do homework. So I bought a couple of boxes of hockey cards, not unopened boxes, but the smaller monster boxes. And they were top loaded and a lot of mix there, but it's going to be fun going through. I haven't gone through them all yet, but that will give me understanding. There are sets and years that I haven't been as tuned in. So the older hockey I know from doing the books, but some of the last 20 years, not as up on it. And I will be now because it had a broad range of stuff. I think I only bought from 5 different dealers. One guy that I usually buy from did not bring stuff for me and is phasing down. And I'm disappointed about that because he usually has a box for me. And Rich informed me, not gloating, but he said, you missed one. There was somebody in the other room that I didn't get over there until Saturday, and it was already picked over. He said, it's kind of stuff you would have liked, but other people liked it too. It's gone, and maybe not to return, but you can't win them all. You can't buy them all. Consequently, I have a new hockey strategy. I'm realizing that my hockey strategy, until I bought whatever it is, 1,000 hockey cards that are dollar box cards, by leaning into it a little bit, I'm going to have a greater understanding. But what it's going to cause me to do is do a little bit more of a deeper alphabetical sort of the players, because I'm realizing I have great familiarity of players in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and when I've had season tickets to the Stars and stuff like that, but not so much now. So the greater alphabetical sort, before I throw somebody in a discard pile that I'm not familiar with, I need to maybe alphabetize them and look them up. And if I've got a hunk of cards from somebody, I can say, is this guy worth keeping, or developing a player lot at not real expensive for eBay. Thank you to Upper Deck has sent me over the years a hockey box here and there for the newer stuff. And I'm realizing that just that head start of having some boxes here and there, of seeing some of the the different colors of Dazzlers and all that. It's given me a basic acquaintance of which cards are every other pack and which cards are every other box and which cards are case hits. And so thank you to Upper Deck. I bought 4 different hockey lots, and each one I had some idea based on the stuff I'd seen from Upper Deck, because there's a lot of continuity of branding. Consequently, I have an excess of top loaders now, and also to a lesser extent card savers, because that's what some of these cards come in. The card savers are problematic because they don't really fit very well in my double shoes that I bring to bring back my cards. But top loaders, I'm going to have some extras, and the market for top loaders peaked a couple of years ago, but I could still get a nickel per top loader or something like that on eBay. The other strategy, because I'm trying to have sports card insights, is that you just can't go up to somebody on Thursday when you get there and expect to get their best price, which they might be able to give you on Sunday if it's still there. And so you're running the risk of waiting. But like I said, I have 5 people I deal with, and I deal with them a lot. So is it the same deal as last time, or is it better or worse? Because there can be inflation. But I just say, I'm not going to be here on Sunday. Can I get the Sunday price on Saturday afternoon? And generally they'll say yes. I mean, if they say no, then I don't know what I'll say, but usually they say yes. But I don't expect to get the Sunday price on Thursday. In fact, I don't expect much discount at all on Thursday. A little bit. It's like the guy at the National that he had significant marks off each day, and you're just betting what you want is still there. If you really want it, just buy it. As I said, I had to babysit on Sunday, and that was more difficult than sitting in an awkward chair going through dollar boxes. Didn't do any of the hobby dinners this time. Maybe next time. And a couple questions about that. I had a first time I have refused to sign a baseball. I refused Kyle Robertson. He wanted me to sign a baseball that already had signatures on there. And these were very famous guys. I'm not going to completely give all the details, but let's just say this. The guys that were already on the ball were dead before I was born. That doesn't seem right to me. That offends my sensibilities. And so I said, Kyle, I politely refuse. And he said, so you're thinking about it? I said, no, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not going to sign a ball that has these icons on it that I don't fit with, because I was not born when they passed away. But it was a great ball in its own right. He'll have fun with it. He has a good eye for the food there. They've got a food truck, which I'm wearing out on the food truck. They've also got a concession stand that's also not great. I've seen some of the dealers will bring stuff in. I always have a stash of energy bars. There are alternatives. I don't want to drive. Actually, you have to go across the street to have lots of choices. But I'm there for the show, not for the food. That perhaps is obvious at this point. But you got to have food. That's I could bring something. I also did something Rich doesn't want me to do. I bought a Super Monster box of NASCAR cards. And the reason I did is because there were a lot of dupes. So that's why I got a really good price. Dupes, there's a short list of drivers. I have some eBay lots that are by the driver. There were no Dale Earnhardt Sr., hardly any Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s, hardly any Jeff Gordon's, hardly any Jimmy Johnson's, but all these other drivers that have followings. So I can spruce up my lots. There were a lot of box hit type inserts, nothing like a case hit. There's not that many huge cards in NASCAR, especially from the 2000s and the 90s, which is really what these were. I'll get my money back with a handful of cards that I noticed. And I broke them down extremely quickly. It's not hard to break down NASCAR when there's, like I said, a short list of drivers and avid fans. I had to drive 25 minutes each way to the show. I get to listen to hobby podcasts, so not a bad deal at all. I'm getting caught up with the plethora of excellent hobby podcasts that are out there. COMC was at the show, and I took advantage of that to drop off some heavier boxes. Actually, I have some graded oversized cards, which wouldn't have killed me to mail them, but they can palletize them and get them there. I'm losing a little bit on the turnaround time, but I'm able to give it directly into Stefan and Angela's hands. They'll take good care of them. They'll be out in the Seattle area next week or whatever. But all I had to do was roll them into the show, and they took it from there. I'm glad COMC is back setting up. Let's see. The first time I've done this, I sold some eBay lots at the show. I have my eBay store with not a whole lot of stuff in it, but I have player lots, and I hand delivered them. And the beauty of that is he could have absolutely satisfaction guaranteed, because I let him open up the boxes and see, look, this is what it is. This is what your price would be. I gave him a discount. And he said, I'll take them. So we'll probably do that again. I had a nice interview with Ezra Levine, who was collectible and now mascot. He wanted to get on the record a conversation that we had a long time ago about mascot and how I thought it was a multi-sales channel technology, mascot, MSCT, that's an acronym or an acrostic. And so he wanted me to tell that story. And so they rolled some video, 90 seconds, and they'll post it out there. That was fun. I'm a pro bono consultant. And if I have an idea, I'm going to share it. The only ideas I really don't share are things that I think would put my former company at a disadvantage. Like people ask me stuff, I'm not going to be critical or give an advantage to a competitor of one of my companies. So Mascot already has a relationship with Beckett anyway. The week before, there was another promoter that's starting to do shows besides Rich Klein's Dot shows. But I think these are 100 tables or less in a similar area. And I have the bandwidth for it, but I'm really enjoying the rhythm of every couple of months going to the Waters Creek show. And the show was excellent for what we said about the Orlando Fanatics Fest being canceled. There are a whole bunch more Florida dealers, I'll tell you that, including the guy who bought that group from a few years ago. I got a copy of Kyle's 2025 show schedule. Not that anybody's making plans based on my plans, but I'm excited because all those dates at this point work for me. It's just been a lot of fun. One of the things I noticed, I was there and Jeff Wilson was a few tables away with his camera video guy, and you could just see the enjoyment he was having and why he's been successful. He's gamifying going after these big cards. And I think he's made his Cards HQ fun and his videos and things like that. Rob Barris, same thing. They're, what do they call it? Videogenic. They enjoy being on camera. They enjoy emoting. Me, not so much, but I do enjoy gamifying cards and making it fun and having a challenge. Whereas Jeff's challenge was to buy $5,000 worth of cards in the next 15 minutes. That would absolutely be at the opposite end of the spectrum for me. I want to buy 100 cards in an hour that are $1 each and then go home and see how well I did as I look them up and make sure that and most of them I did well on. So I want to gamify on the small cards. And of course, as you would imagine, a few minutes later, Bo Spencer Thompson comes up of 1 million cards fame talking about how he gamified it and made it a challenge to get to 1 million Cubs. And now that he has, he's doing some other fun stuff. He just had a big smile on his face. That's the way it's supposed to be. I'm not as smiley, but I sure was enjoying myself being in a good spot. Also, I noticed when Bo was there and a few other guys, I was looking at their badges and it said press on it. I thought, I never had a press badge. But I'm not there to be a press person. But apparently Kyle will give out a press badge. Who knew? I guess I should have known. I buy a VIP badge, and then I will admit they upgrade me to the all access so I can get in a little bit early. But I'm not really there for editorial purposes. I'm there to buy cards. I have done some podcasts when I've been there, and I've enjoyed meeting old friends and meeting new friends. You know, and that's courtesy of Akbar, who, when I show up and I've got my P-Pass, he said, hey, take this instead. It's the all access. I really appreciate that. And I don't know, maybe the press pass is even better. I'm not so sure. Let's see. The other thing I learned, for example, with Akbar and several of these others, is that one of the secrets I had in my company, I had great people helping me, great lieutenants. And I think Kyle does too. So Akbar, great attitude, and everybody else there. When I walk in, if I'm not showing my badge, hold up there, and I'll pull up my badge because I don't like it dangling. I picked up some more strategies for eBay, realizing that just doing player lots, I think I'm going to experiment with some college lots. I'm going to experiment with some multiple Hall of Famer lots. I had a bunch of young guns in there, maybe a young gun lot. I can get several of those. College groups from a certain college, maybe a group of serial numbered cards from a certain team, just cards I can't sell one at a time, but I can sell them in a group. Like I said, gamifying a hobby is really great. It really is going to keep the interest. I don't have a specific goal, but to have fun and to learn and to get cards that I haven't had, and then keep a few and get the rest of them packaged up to go to somebody else that really wants them. A lot of the dollar box stuff is just not organized. In fact, Tim Getch of COMC fame appreciates that when I'm in the dollar boxes, I know the players he likes. So I don't send them to him directly to send a random act of kindness. I'll post it at what I think is a reasonable price on COMC, and he makes me an offer, which I dutifully accept, and it gets him some of the players I know that he likes that have a special meaning for his virtual card wall. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Kyle, and thanks, Rich, and everybody else, the guys I spent time with. They make it fun for me, and I hope everybody has that kind of experience. So see you again in a couple days.